Death speaks.
And the night
has a voice. From the slab
to your mind's eye. This
is Radio Morgue. What Hurricane Sandy uncovered.
It was 2012 when Hurricane Sandy hit the northeast United States. New York City was fixated on a dangling crane in midtown Manhattan. Weird stories and photos circulated the internet and social media. Most notably, the picture of a shark in the flooded front lawn of a New Jersey home. One of the more disturbing pictures I saw was of a casket floating down an empty street. I've searched high and low for a copy of that photo, more to prove my story than anything else. Caskets floating away during a flood aren't anything new, believe it or not. In New Orleans, the problems of airtight coffins popping out of the ground because of heavy rainfall became so bad, most graves are now either lined with concrete or built above ground. Before Sandy, this phenomenon was unheard of in the state of Connecticut. I never saw it personally, mind you. I just saw the picture I mentioned, and a few stories from patrons at the bar I used to work at. Problem is, drunks aren't exactly known for their honest storytelling. The story I'm telling you now took place the day after the hurricane. The bar I work at is located on the outskirts of Waterbury, Connecticut. My boss called me and asked if I could go check out the place and make sure it hadn't been damaged or looted. I said I would, on the condition that I could drink for free when I got there. He agreed. Not much choice, he was flooded in after all. And I was in my truck and on my way, figuring I'd spend my afternoon relaxing in an empty bar. There's something creepy about a city the day after a storm. Major roadways are abandoned. Streetlights are out. One major intersection I had to go through simply had a stop sign stuck in a Home Depot bucket in the middle of the road instead of its usual working stoplights. The power was out, so most of the houses I passed were pitch black. Pure silence, with the exception of my truck's engine and the country station I was listening to. Only one word came to mind at that moment. Apocalyptic. I pulled into the strip mall where the bar was located. I locked up and moved towards the glass front door. The neon sign outside had been broken in the storm. McKinley's Gin Mill was written in hunter green Gothic type on yellowing plastic. The break in the sign was in the top left corner where an Irish caricature grinned over a mug of beer. With the top left part of his head missing, the single remaining eye made his smile seem more sinister than sarcastic. I opened up and flipped the switch. The light stayed off. Power's out. Sign's broken. But I couldn't see any other damage. I grabbed a green Jameson bottle along with a portable iPod player we kept under the bar and made my way into the adjoining room. The way McKinley's was set up was as soon as you walk through the front door, you're in the bar room. The room had wood paneling and was decorated with photos, posters, and signs scattered on the walls. Across from the bar was a 5-foot gap in the wall that led to an area with a big screen TV, pool table, jukebox, and a few tables. I put the bottle on one of the tables and set up my iPod. I enjoy solitude, for the most part, and the idea of drinking a bottle of Irish and listening to music while improving my pool game was welcome compared to how I usually spend my nights. Noisy 20-somethings taking Instagram pics and comparing how drunk they are. I put my chill-out playlist on and set up the table. I was maybe halfway through my second game when I heard the bell over the front door tingle. I put down the pool cue to the sound of a scraping stool. I walked back into the bar room and saw the man's back. "You got a drink there, friend?" he asked in a sing-song voice. I made my way to the shelf with all the liquor bottles. The man was dressed odd compared to our usual clientele. He was wearing a dark black suit, like the guy had just gotten out of church. "What do you want?" I asked. He rapped his knuckles in the wood. 4 roses bourbon. 3 fingers neat, if you don't mind." I reached up to the top shelf and grabbed the dust-covered bottle. I took a clean rocks glass from the bottom of the shelf before turning towards the man and pouring the drink. The man grabbed the glass, and I looked up at him. That was the first time I got a real look at him. His suit was not Sunday best, as I had originally thought. Patches of it had rotted away. It was covered in patches of mud, dirt, and pus-yellow stains that shone past the black. The shirt underneath, which had once been white, was now a light brown with the same sickly yellow blotches scattered about. But that wasn't the most horrifying thing. His eyes were glazed over white with only evidence of pupils being putrid milk-colored dots. His skin was pulled tight against his skull, like pale cling film. The right side of his face didn't even have that much. The bottom of his right eyeball was visible past a half-rotten eyelid. Cheekbone, jaw, teeth were all visible in a deep yellow color. He sipped the whiskey and brown liquor ran through the gaps in his teeth. Whoa. No, it burns. Damn good stuff that is, very fine. He said with a half grin. I pulled back and the man gave a deep laugh. Oh, I know, I must look a mess. I caught my reflection in the store window. Don't worry, I don't mean you any kind of harm. Well, not to you, at least. I reached under the bar, my hand wrapped around a sawn-off baseball bat we kept in case of a robbery. If you're looking to use that bat, you'd better make sure your first hit is true, friend. I don't want to hurt you. But I will. How did he know what I was thinking? Did he check under the bar when he walked in? Did he see the reflection in the mirror? He answered for me. Oh, when you're going on, Dad, 60 years, you start to see things no one else does, he said while pointing at his half-exposed eye. The eye sees all, I'm afraid. I see your heart racing. I see the bat. Most of all, I see you. Frank. My fingers tightened around the leather grip. He took another sip. I don't know how, I know neither. Please let go of the bat. I just got out and would just like a bit of conversation, eh? Grab a drink, pal. I'm buying. Huh. I let go of the bat and tried to feel the shelf behind me. I half swung my hand around until I felt fingers touch glass. I put another rocks glass in the bar top in front of me, not wanting to lose sight of the stranger. When a man with half a face, who somehow knows your first name, asks to have a drink with you, you have 3 options. Option A is to try and kill him. Well, that wasn't a choice if you knew what I was thinking before I thought it. Option B is to scream and run. But to who? The police? Sorry, officer, but can I trouble you to take care of this zombie in my bar? Oh, yes, I've been drinking. Why ever do you ask? Option C. Have the drink. And just hope for the best. I poured myself a bourbon and tried to avoid staring at his face. Oh, go ahead and look, the man said. Before you ask, I don't know why I'm here. Well, not here. I'm here to have a drink and conversation with a good friend. Here, though, oh, that's a surprise it is. Woke up staring at silk, I did. Clawed at it, I did. Screamed, I did. Well, I don't know for how long. Could have been a day, could have been 60 years, eh? Didn't exactly have a calendar down there, now did I? Oh. As I know, as the box I was in started to move, the wood was old enough that after a few hits I cracked it. Ripped apart the top and made my way here. You can imagine it's been quite an interesting day for me. He chuckled. I drank deep and poured myself another. By the by, is East Windsor Road still 3 blocks down? He asked. No, no, 3 blocks down is Kennedy Street, I responded. He looked confused. Kennedy Street. Who's Kennedy? All right, I'm talking 3 blocks that way, he said while pointing behind himself with his thumb. Yeah, that's Kennedy Street, all right. And that's Kennedy, I said while nodding towards a black and white photo of JFK we had hung on the wall by the mirror. Kennedy, oh, And, what did he do to earn a place in that fine wall there? I responded to the 60-year dead man the same way I would a drunk patron. First, Irish Catholic president. Irish Catholic. Oh. Oh my God. I would have loved to have seen that. What else? First female president. First black man? The first atheist? I stared at him a moment. I hope he's not a racist. We actually have a black president now. President Barack Obama. He laughed so hard he almost fell out of his chair. Oh my God. A black man is president. What a time. Oh God. I have missed so much. He wrapped his fingers on the bar. Do you believe in fate, friend? Do you subscribe to the notion of divine providence? I shook my head. Ah, well, I do, he responded. At least I do now. 60 years on Earth, only me to keep me company. Want to know why, too? My pretty wife, well, I suppose pretty ex-wife. She killed me, don't you know? He shook his head. I knew that stew tasted funny. Anyways, my wife wanted to be with my friend Teddy. Of course, I knew at the time that they were running around together. One night I go home and eat a nice home-cooked meal. Next thing I know, I am clawing at the ceiling. He finished his bourbon. Dark brown trails on yellowed bone through gritted teeth. Now that I'm here, I'll have my revenge, of course. I'm going to walk right down Kennedy Street. Go right up to my old house, knock on the door and yell, "Honey, I'm home." And then when I see her face, well, let's just say that she won't be so pretty anymore. Oh, and I do hope Teddy'd be there too. By God. But wouldn't that be a proper homecoming? He stood up. Seems I'm a bit light at the moment. I'll pay you back when I get the chance, friend. I can't begin to tell you what a pleasure it's been. Frank. Solancha. He turned and walked out the door. As the bell above the door tingled, I fell to the ground, shaking. I had finally composed myself a few hours later in the mid-afternoon. I locked up, texted my boss about the damage, and went home. I didn't sleep much, and I ended up calling out of work the next few days. But with a combination of sleep deprivation and repeating that it was only a bad Halloween prank over and over and over again, I finally found the courage to go back. Then, a week after my return, I was opening up when I found an envelope shoved under the door. Inside was a newspaper clipping about an elderly couple who seems to have been ripped apart by some animal. Also, $9. Once I found out from the owner a glass of 4 roses cost $3 when they first opened up in 1951, I quit and left the state of Connecticut for good.
Your mind lingers
I'm home. Thank you for visiting me tonight at the Radio Morgue. Return now to the safety of the daylight. But remember, as you lie alone in the dark, unable to close your eyes, just keep telling yourself, it's only a story. Ha ha ha.